Hey folks, Sarah at Nova, and this time around we are talking about a 1964 BMW R50/2. If you follow classic bike auctions and things like that, the /2 BMWs have been going up in value quite a bit. Not only is it a cool collectible, it's a valuable collectible. The R50s are the 500s, and the R60s are the 600s. The R60s tend to pull a little bit more at auction, but they're both cool bikes. So talking about it a little bit, they're from a time when utilitarianism was key. This was a touring bike. 500cc back in the day was considered a big bike. And this was obviously, you can ride two up on this. There's a whole array of luggage and stuff you could get on it. And if we come around on this side, you can see something that was just standard on all of these bikes, and that is sidecar lugs. So these came with these spots on the frame, ready to take a sidecar to mount to. This is not a factory fastener, but the lug on the frame that holds it absolutely is. So this bike came to us with a sidecar on it. That was not an original sidecar. This customer is not a fan of things that aren't original, so we pulled it off. And we're going to probably keep it solo for a while, but we're keeping the lugs on there because if we do find an original German sidecar, he may want it. So if you're sitting on one out there, feel free to reach out to us. We may still be looking for it when you watch this video. There's a lot of just kind of interesting things on this bike. The seats obviously are pretty cool. The spring on the seat is something that you think Eric Buell might have thought of. Just very much overbuilt as far as what it does. Adjustable where the seat is adjustable for where you sit compared to the guy in front. And got a little handrail in the center to grab onto so you don't have to squeeze whoever's in front of you. The mirrors coming off the headlight, to me, very classy. And it's sort of before everything got unified and all motorcycles kind of do everything the same, which is kind of where we are now. This kind of stuff was pretty normal. The bar end turn signals, I'm not sure if they originated here, but it was one early use of them. This one is missing them, obviously. But these had bar end turn signals, which are quite common in the custom world now. But these came with them stock, and I think look pretty cool. This front end is called an Earl's front end, and it's a swing arm in the front with a shock, just like this is, basically a rear shock, and a swing arm like you can see on the rear. These are really good for sidecars. They're much more stable. And the funny thing about them is when you grab the brake, instead of diving forward like we're used to if you ride telescopic forks, these actually kind of lift up because the drum brake makes it rise, rise over it. It's a very different sensation. So it's actually kind of interesting to ride. It's not light. These bikes are not necessarily the most agile, but they're small and the weight is low, so they're not exactly whales either. They're not pigs. Kind of cool. Another nice feature, which is common on all the BMWs that had kickstarts, is instead of having to straddle the bike and kick and jump, this is just pushes out and very easy to do. It's a nice big heavy flywheel, so if this thing wants to run, it's very easy to kick. Doesn't take much. The reason it can do that and why other bikes can't is that these, like modern BMWs and like Uzis and other machines, has a longitudinal crankshaft. The crank is running front to back. So it's easy to have that in line. So instead of kicking it on the side, you're kicking it at that angle. So that's kind of cool. These bikes, I would say, were very pleasant. There's nothing incredibly exciting about them. For a 500cc bike that is not light, this thing put out about 25, 26 horsepower. So imagine riding two up on that. You're not going terribly fast, but I think a top speed of around 90, just under 90, claimed anyway. Could be done, so take your time and be patient. It'll get where you're going, and you can go at a moderate clip. You're not going to break any records. But it's smooth, it's comfortable, very well balanced. And let's see. Another thing I like to think about, I look on these, this sort of spans the generations of technology here. In the 60s, this is, in many ways, looks very outdated to me. This it's not a plunger rear, but it looks a lot like a plunger. If you don't know, a plunger rear was the difference between a hardtail and the swing arm world. It was the first sprung rears. Well, sprung hub was the first. Second kind of sprung rears. But it would hold the shock in the middle, and the whole shock, the center of the shock would move up and down. This is your traditional shock where the bottom of the shock moves and the top doesn't, but it holds it in the middle, and that's really a holdover from the earlier style. So, by this time, Japanese bikes and Harleys and Brit bikes, we're generally using what we consider to be normal shocks now, but this is kind of cool. holdover of the style. It's running a magneto ignition. So in a separate charging system, it was a 6 volt still, which is kind of late for 6 volt. The Brits were still right on the verge of 12 volt at this time period. Harleys were still 6, I believe, but Japanese stuff was not. Pretty much across the board, Japanese was 12 volt by this point. So a little bit outdated even then. But strangely enough, BMW has always been a little bit behind the times, yet designs that are very good and very solid and very reliable. So they kind of last, and they're pleasant to ride. This thing is in here. I think it was parked for a while. You know, this is a customer of ours who has a large collection of BMWs, and we're just slowly going through them all. And this one has been sitting for years, and he had tried to start it before we got there to pick it up, and he couldn't get it started. We got it here. We put a little fresh fuel in it and kicked over. One kick, I think, fired right up. So what we have to do to it is pretty limited. We're going to put some new tires on it, you know, make sure the valves are good, change the fluids, that kind of stuff. But they shouldn't need too much. Make sure all the brakes are working and that kind of stuff. Another thing of its time that's common for Beamers, but also other German things, other German bikes of the time, and even I think some CZs and stuff. The key, very simple, and actually it's moderately universal. If you have one, you can have them all. But this is very much normal for its time. Goes in, and when it's sitting there, you can spin freely, and it's not doing anything. You turn the bike on, you click it, you can see that the charging light comes on because we're not charging then. But then if you want to turn the lights on, you turn it one more direction that way. So kind of cool. Definitely not very theft proof, but definitely if you have an old even some of the Airheads, even the R75s had that. I think the /6 might have been the first one. They use a regular key. Yeah, very aerodynamic. I mean, if you look at the lines of this thing, it's still kind of Art Deco in a lot of ways, which is coming from the 30s, and this design kind of dates back to that. So it has a very antique feel to it, and I really like that about these. Huge drum brakes, front and rear, shaft drive. I didn't get into all the technical details on it, but stuff that was normal for those are normal things. Drum brakes, normal for their time. Shaft drive, very normal for BMW. Yeah, not a whole lot to say. This one obviously is black. We did another video of one of these a while back on the white one, and I could not remember the name of the paint color. It's Dover white. This is not the Dover white one, but I'll happily say that I don't know everything about the /2s, and a lot of you guys out there who do know everything about them. So if I'm getting something wrong, or if I'm missing something, please feel free to chime in the comments. The more we learn, the more people can learn while watching these videos, the more the better. I don't mind being told I'm wrong or that I missed something. And yeah, and then just more details on this thing. You got the hinged fender to make it easier to change a tire, which as a mechanic I can say I love that. I can't tell you how many, but even modern machines come in that we have to take like the whole pipes off and do all the crazy stuff to get the wheel off. This, you could take off a bolt, take out the axle, flip up the fender, and it just kind of comes right out. So BMWs, they always say, BMWs were made to be rebuilt with the factory toolkit on the side of the road, and it's really true. I'm not always a super BMW fan. If you follow my opinions about things, I have a lot to say that are not great, but I do love that. My very first car was a Volkswagen, an air-cooled Volkswagen, and a very similar flat, air-cooled, very simple, functional kind of design, and I do appreciate that. And you really can do a lot on these things. People put hundreds of thousands of miles on them with very little input. I think that's about it. You know, I could look at this thing all day and point out cool things. But yeah, as I said, if you have stuff to say about these, let us know. If you've ever read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, this is not his friend's bike. You know that Robert Persig rode a Honda CB77. His friends, a couple, were on a BMW R69S. Very similar to this. It's a hot rod version, but same style, same look. So if you can imagine a CB77 Honda Superhawk and this kind of bike, that's what they were riding across country in that book. So I like that. These things have tons of history with BMW, some of it bad, but but yeah, there's a lot to think about, a lot to look at, and they sound great and they're great to ride. So when we get this thing running for good, we will definitely put some running videos of it up on the Shorts feed. So check back here often. And
we'll be going to cameraman Todd's house for
yes, and we will. This will make it into next year's calendar. We'll definitely get it over to Todd's house for some shooting. And the calendar is available for pre-order. Our 2025 calendar will be ready we'll ship before Christmas. So if you want to get in on that, give us a pre-order. That definitely makes sure we'll have enough for everybody. There's a link to it in our bio, I believe, on here on YouTube, and also on our website, novamotorcycles.com. Shameless plug. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like I said, chime in on these models, BMW/2s in particular. Thoughts, memories, if I get something wrong, please do. And as usual, thanks for watching.